What's up YouTube? How's it going? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk a little bit about a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot in the fitness industry. Candidly, I use it in a lot of my videos too, and the word is moderation. We all know what it means, but in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about how to actually implement it and what that looks like in a practical sense for you day to day, week to week in your fitness journey as you're trying to lose weight. So without any further ado, let's just get right on into it. Now, moderation is one of those words, one of those things where we can say it and it sounds great in theory, but what does that actually look like in practice? Like if we were to take these Oreos here, for example, does moderation mean we eat these every day? Like in small quantities? Does it mean we eat them once a week? Does it mean it has to be even less frequent than that? What does moderation actually mean? And more importantly, how do we actually quantify it? But before I talk about all that, I want to touch on why moderation is so important to understand if you're someone who's looking to lose weight, get in shape, become healthier, but not just like a quick 12-week program, 16-week challenge where you lose a bunch of weight and then that's it, you put it back on. I'm talking about like true sustainability, like you become a fitness person, someone who long-term's going to the gym 4 days a week, you're eating pretty clean while still enjoying yourself, you're getting good sleep, you have low stress levels, you're lean, you have some muscle, you're strong, like all of these things that go into making you a healthy person overall. You want that over the long term. How do we actually achieve that? The way I often think about it is you basically have three options. Three options when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle or not living a healthy lifestyle. So option A would be you do a bunch of healthy stuff all the time. Option B would be you do a bunch of unhealthy stuff all the time. And option C would be you do some healthy stuff some of the time and some unhealthy stuff some of the time. Literally by definition, that's it. That's all you could ever do. You either fall into one of those three camps. Now, if you look at my content, you follow me, you know I kind of fall into that option C category where clearly I'm doing a lot of healthy stuff. I'm a personal trainer. You see it on my stories, you see it in my posts. But at the same time, you also see that I enjoy myself. I show a lot of foods like this. I show myself enjoying really good desserts, having really good meals, and I definitely don't deprive myself. Because here's the way I look at it. If you only ever do healthy stuff, you might be healthy physically, but mentally it's gonna take a toll because you're not enjoying life. And I'm a firm believer, and this is something that not a lot of personal trainers talk about, I'm a firm believer that your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and if you don't have your mental health, you can't be as physically healthy as you want to be. This just doesn't get talked about enough. On paper, it might be healthy for me to eat chicken breast and broccoli at every meal, but that's not taking into account my mental state and how that's going to make me feel and ultimately the quality of my life. Because if you're stressed all the time, you have these elevated cortisol levels, how is that helping you become healthier? It's not. It's actually taking away from your health, and there could be long-term repercussions of that. So why would we try to eat super clean on paper if it only causes us to be more stressed, which has negative health effects? Now, on the other hand, if you only ever do unhealthy stuff, well, obviously you might be able to enjoy a lot of fast food and cookies and drink a lot of alcohol, but you're not going to be healthy physically. And when you're not healthy physically, it also affects your mental health because if you're not going to the gym, you're not lifting weights, and therefore you have knee pain because you're not training your legs, or you're not eating any nutrient-dense foods, so your digestion's out of whack. These things are going to affect you not only physically, but also mentally because your quality of life's gonna suffer. So by definition, we have to be somewhere in the middle. We have to be in this middle ground where sometimes we're doing healthy stuff and sometimes we're not doing healthy stuff, but it's that balance that creates this feasible long-term plan that you can actually stick to. Again, it's about actually sticking with this over the long run. A really good way to quantify it is kind of following the 80-20 rule, which I really like, which is about 80% of the time you're eating whole nutrient-dense foods. Think healthy carbs, white rice, potatoes, lean sources of protein like chicken breast, 93.7 ground turkey, healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, plenty of fruits and vegetables, plenty of fiber. So that's your 80%. And then you have your 20% where you allow yourself to kind of let loose because, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, I'm a big believer that if your diet, no matter what it is causing you a tremendous amount of stress, it is not healthy. I don't care how nutrient dense it is. I don't care how many fear mongers on social media are telling you you have to do low carb or you have to do intermittent fasting or you know, those videos where guys walk around grocery stores highlighting individual ingredients saying, if you eat this, you're harming yourself. Well, first of all, there's a lot of misinformation out there. But putting that aside for a second, even if there's any truth to that, if it's causing you to be chronically stressed, that is way worse for you long-term than any of the so-called negative effects of any of these ingredients that they're talking about. You have to understand this. Stress can be just as harmful as these unhealthy junk foods, which is why we have to find this balance that I'm talking about, this moderation. So here's an action plan that we can work off of to actually achieve moderation. That's what the point of this video is about. Let's take these Oreos, for example. Obviously, these are Oreo Thins. I don't have actual Oreos right now. I wish I did. Although, would I eat them in moderation? Well, who knows? But let's just use these as an example right now because Oreos are a food that we all love. It's a really good example of a food that on paper, it sounds easy. Oh, let's just eat them in moderation. But obviously they're very tasty. They're hard to put down. So this would be a really good example of a food to talk about moderation with. Let's say we have two extremes. On one extreme, you eat these every single day, okay? On the other extreme, you never eat them. So to me, one way we can quantify moderation is let's just split the difference right in the middle of the two. So instead of never eating them or instead of eating them every single day, why don't we go 50-50? Let's go right down the middle and say that's moderation in this example. So what that would look like is like 3 to 4 days a week you'd eat something like this. But here is a way that you have to approach it so that you're able to eat the food consistently, but you're not going over your calories and you're also not eating it to an unhealthy level. A serving of Oreos, so not Oreo Thins, but a serving of Oreos is 2 cookies. Now, a lot of people say that they have sugar cravings, that they're not able to eat foods like this, in moderation. This is my homework assignment for you after you watch this video to actually give you a real action plan here. I want you to force yourself to take a food like this. It doesn't have to be Oreos. It could be ice cream, it could be chips, whatever that food is for you. I want you to force yourself to, just for a week, force yourself to eat, let's say this food, Oreos, 3 to 4 times throughout the week, but here's the caveat. So that's every other day, but here's the caveat. You have to eat just 1 serving. So it can't be like I eat Oreos, but I'm eating 8. Okay, well that's not moderation anymore, right? If we're trying to prove to ourselves that we're capable of eating this stuff in moderation, we have to actually do it. As humans, we can't just say we want to do something. We have to show ourselves that we're actually capable of implementing it. So for a week, your challenge, and you can do this because you have the willpower, is you're gonna eat a food like this every other day, except you're gonna force yourself to have just 1 serving so you can prove to yourself that, okay, I can have a little bit and then as soon as I'm done, I put it away. In fact, if it was something like Oreos, you'd take 2 out, you'd seal it, and you'd put it away in your cupboard, and you would sit down, you'd watch your Netflix show, whatever you do at night, and you'd eat them. Eat them slowly, enjoy them, really take time to enjoy them. But the idea behind it is you get done with it, and you say to yourself, okay, that was tasty, it wasn't a lot, which kind of sucks, but man, you wake up the next morning, you say, holy shit, I was able to just eat 2 Oreos last night. Whereas normally I always justify in my head, oh, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not just gonna have 2, I'm gonna have 4, I'm gonna have 6, I'm gonna have 8, I'm gonna have 10. And the reason you do that is because you've never proven to yourself that you're capable of just having 2. So this is kind of what this experiment is it's your opportunity to show yourself like, hey, I can actually do this. And you're gonna realize after you have 2 of them, the world didn't end. Everything is okay. You did it, you enjoyed it, and you actually wake up the next morning feeling really good about yourself for 2 reasons. Number 1 is you were able to enjoy a food without guilt. That's really important. Food you enjoy without guilt. But number 2, you're actually gonna feel good that you got the satisfaction of eating them without going off the rails. Because normally when you eat foods like this, you're having 10 Oreos at a time, but this time you didn't. So you showed yourself it's possible, and now you feel really good that you did that. And because now you know it's possible to eat this in just 1 serving, you can do it again and again and again. And that's the way you kind of slowly get into a lifestyle of eating this stuff in moderation without going off the rails. And by the way, as a side note, one of the really cool things about doing something like that is by only having 2, right, that's 140 calories. You could definitely fit that into your calories, even if you're trying to lose weight, you're in a calorie deficit. 140 calories for most people isn't gonna really put you over. Now, if you had 6 Oreos or 8 or more, yeah, that's where you start getting into the territory of you're having 500, 600 calories and it's more like a meal rather than a dessert or a snack, and that's a problem. But if you're only having 1 serving, you could fit that in. So now, number 1, you're proving to yourself you're capable of doing this. And then number two, you're like, oh, not only can I do it, but it actually fits into my calorie deficit. So I'm able to eat Oreos while losing weight, and then it all starts coming together. You realize you can do it, and this whole thing becomes just so much more sustainable. So I hope this video was helpful, and at least it gave you a little bit of a taste, an intro into how you can start doing this stuff in moderation. I just think it's so important to be able to get to that point. And listen, it takes time. Don't expect this stuff to just click right away. This is a learning process. This is something that takes years, but it's worth putting in that effort up front to get there, because like we talked about, you want to get to that point where you're living a healthy life while you're still enjoying yourself in the process. So if you got value from this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It helps the video get pushed out to more people. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more content so that you're notified when I post another video. If you have any questions, just let me know down below in the comments, or you can follow me on Instagram and shoot me a message over there. And I will see you in the next one.